mechanics, this is what most people don't struggle with. I don't think it's going to be the case here, except for this specific part, camera control. That's something that almost everybody can improve on. So most likely, that will be something to check out, and that's what we're gonna see in the replay, right, from your player perspective. We got game plan, which is what most people are interested in. Uh, we get a lot of questions like when should I be doing what. The thing is, the answer to all these questions is it depends, right? And what it depends on is basically this last part, the strategy. Okay, so you can see that the game plan is everything that kind of do in the game. The strategy is everything you could prepare outside of the game. Uh, so game plan is something that you improve on with experience, right? But to have it, you have to understand this part better, and this is the part that also somebody else can tell you, like me in this case. I can help you out with figuring, what kind of matchups are in your favor or not in your favor. Picks, like, it's a big part of the game, and you might be thinking like, okay, it's it's a pub. I can only pick my hero. What does the draft matter? It still matters also for what you're gonna do. Yes, you can't like make your team have a better draft, but if you know what the strengths and weaknesses of your pick are, it gives you a much better idea of how to play, how to approach the game. So you see my screen button, right? The game now. All right. So this is the replay link, right? You're the Windranger. All right. So what can you tell me about this game? What do you think went wrong here?
I to be honest, you told me to pick one, right? And so that was like kind of the most recent one. I think what went wrong, there was a couple of things, but at the very end, we lost one of our guys. Like he DC'd, they wouldn't pause, and then I focused fire one of Void's illusion for like the very last fights. So like I made a bad play, and I think being down a man and then the bad play, I think it was just like kind of like too much. One thing I've been trying to improve on with Wind is like my efficiency. So like power shotting multiple camps, trying to make sure whenever I walk into the triangle to look at the time to try and stack. I don't know if I'm doing in this game, but it's kind of things that I've been trying to focus on to better conserve my mana usage, basically.
Okay. Interesting. So, to be honest, those efficiency things, I mean, we're gonna mention them as well, but it's rarely the thing that it's gonna really up your game, so to speak. It's not really something to focus on. So, all right, let's start with when you find, like, you queue for a game, right, and you find this match, right? So everybody picks their hero. Like, what are you thinking about after the heroes are picked before the creep spawn?
I've been first picking. So when I switched to mid, I was kind of like trying to find my hero. One of the tips that the last guy gave me was like I need to shorten my hero pool because I was playing a very broad range of heroes. So he told me to play Magnus and PA, but like it just didn't fit my style. Like my style of play is like I like quick heroes that I can get around the map on, and kind of be almost everywhere. And I kind of found Wind, and I've been playing a lot of Wind, and that was one of the main heroes that got me from that 2900 to the 3600. I had like a 70% or 75% win rate on the hero.
Okay.
So I've been first picking because there's really no counters to Wind, right? Like Void is probably my biggest problem, right? Because he chronos me with a Monkey King bar, and I'm pretty much dead, right? But then chronos down for the rest of the team that they can hopefully clean up, right? So a lot of times I first pick it in the draft. So like when the draft happens, I use that program Lone Wolf or whatever the hell it's called for drafting assistance.
Yeah, the Wolf, yeah.
Yeah, and I see it's available. I look at kind of what they're picking, and 9 times out of 10, I'm like first picking it, which will give my other teammates a chance to, react to them, right? Because they'll probably think it's a support Wind as opposed to a mid.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. Windranger is a pretty good hero. It is actually one of the heroes I recommend to. Yeah, if you're gonna spam something or like please play it a lot, it's not a bad choice, especially for solo carrying the game. What I mean though is like after you see both full lineups, right? All 10 heroes are picked, right? And then after that moment and before the creep spawn, right? You have about 2 minutes. Like this is your mental prep time. What are you usually thinking about in that time?
Like what items I need to get.
Okay.
You know, like is there a specific item that I need to get in order to be, you know, kind of do what I need to do?
Okay. So yeah, so I like to call it the pre-game thought checklist. All right. So you're thinking about item build. All right. Anything else? Or is that?
You know, who can cancel my TP?
Okay.
You know, I'm
Okay,
thinking of
that's kind of oddly specific. I mean, it's something to consider, but
like who am I scared of if I see, right? Like if I see like one hero or if I see two heroes together, you know what I mean? Like who am I like, oh shit, two of those guys, I'm out.
Okay. So enemy kill threats, I guess. I could call it like that. Okay.
That's probably it. Like I don't
right.
do a tremendous amount. It's pretty much like, all right, who am I scared of over there? And you know, what items do I need to kind of do what I do?
Okay, that's fine. But it's not enough, right? So there's a couple. Like obviously, we're gonna spend like maybe like 5-10 minutes talking about it now, and it's not gonna you're not gonna have that time in a real game. But the point is that as you get used to it, you will be able to think of the stuff very quickly. Right. So the first like major question you gotta ask yourself, it's quite simple, is which team has the better late game? Right. So what do you think about this game?
I think they have the better late game.
Okay. Why?
I think Void gets really scary later on.
All right. So they have Void. That means they have the better late game.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just Void, right? Like their combo between CM with Void. The Axe, right? So if our spec gets really farmed, Axe can blink call them with Blade Mail, kind of burst them down. So I think just their team comp is stronger than ours in the late game.
I have to disagree here. Like you could take it hero by hero. Yes, Void is very strong late game, but so is Spectre. So they're even-ish. Ogre CM definitely falls off as a support duo. That's not a good late game support. Like neither of them are late game heroes. Like Ogre, yeah, with 25 talent, Aghanims or some shit, right, which he didn't get. But Winter Wyvern skills a lot better.
Yeah.
Percentage
right,
damage.
Just ult somebody and kill.
The ult is a threat any stage. Yeah.
Yep.
Spirit Breaker also stuns that go through BKB. Pretty strong. Slaughter versus Axe. It's kind of 50-50. I mean, Slaughter has this big power spike again at level 25, which he didn't actually take. But
the undispellable thing.
The undispellable, yeah, that's a very big deal.
Yep.
I would say they're relatively equal late game strength. And then we have Windranger versus Invoker. Again, it depends. They both skilled well, but when the relative strength of the heroes is kind of like similar, you also got to think about how easy is it to actually execute. All right, it's like a billion times easier to click Shaco and ult, or even just ult as Windranger, than it is to play Invoker effectively in a late game. Yeah. So that's why, like, I would favor your lineup a little bit more. Still, let's say it's kind of even. The next thing to think about is, so this is the first one, right? Like, which team has the better late game? All right, and the next thing to ask yourself as a mid especially, so it's not the case for carry, but it's the case for every other role, especially mid. Which enemy core do you want to pressure? Right, and the way I like to ask this is, imagine the three cores are Axe, Void, and Invoker, right? So imagine you have these three cores in front of you and one button for each. If you press the button, that hero starts off 0-5 and just has a bad game, right? But you can only pick one. So which one would you pick?
Void every time.
All right, why?
Because I think that he's going to have a much harder time to recover than Axe. I mean, Axe just needs a blink and a blade mail, and he's pretty dangerous. Invoker can sit in the back and just spam his spells in there, so he can be dangerous with minimal farm. But I think a Void, if you slow down his item timing, it's going to really help you out.
Okay. Now let me ask you like this. All right, what is Void's game plan if, like, for the first 15 minutes or so, if he's having a regular game, like just nothing special happens, he's not owning the lane, he's not losing the lane, just regular Void game. What's his game plan at start?
I mean, he's going to go Mask of Madness, and I mean, pretty much his build here. Like, he's going to go Mask of Madness into MKB, to BKB.
No, not the item build. Like, what is his game plan for the first 15 minutes or so?
Farm.
Yeah, it's the farm, right? He's gonna farm.
Yep.
Because he's the farmer, pretty obvious.
Yep.
Okay. Now, what is his game plan if he starts off 0 and 5?
Farm. Or team fight. Try to team fight.
Well, he cannot. I mean, he's gonna farm. I mean, he might use the chrono, but then he's gonna go back to farming. Right? So, this is a very important thing because most people, like you, say the farming hero, but this is actually wrong. Alright, because killing the farming hero doesn't really slow them down. It doesn't change the enemy team's game plan. Right? They will farm no matter what. Now, what is Axe's regular game plan? If
Get a blink and fight.
Yeah. And what if he dies 5 times?
Doesn't get a blink for a very long time.
Yeah, his game plan changes, right? Suddenly, he needs to do what instead of fighting?
Farm.
Yeah, he also needs to farm. Yeah, now suddenly, that's 2 heroes farming. Yes.
Right.
And this actually changes the enemy team's game plan, right? And another very key aspect of this. Now, so which enemy core do you focus? Not the farming hero. Alright. Now, of course, you don't want to play late game against Void because it's not fun. He's very strong late game. So if killing him and like focusing him near the game is not the answer, what is the answer then? How do you prevent him from getting very farmed?
You try and make people eat his farm.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you said you're not going to slow him down, right? Because he's farming. So if we pressure Axe, kill Axe, Axe now has to rotate to the jungle, which is taking the Void's farm because there's only so much farm, right? So if there's only so many resources on the map.
To an extent, yes, but I mean, there's enough, especially in like the first 15 minutes, people aren't that quick at jungling yet. There's enough for both of them to farm jungle. I'm not saying it's good for them to do that, but the reason is not that like they were gonna run out of camps, right? That might be the case, I don't know, like later with Battle Furies and shit, but not early on. So that's not the reason, no. Or that's not the way to... That's not how you're slowing down his farm. Can you think of a different way? It's not a trick question, I mean, just...
No. I mean, you gank him, right? I mean, you gank him and you force him to rotate into the jungle. I mean, that's the only way I can think to slow down his farm.
Okay, so there's another way, and that is actually the best way, is you don't give him space to farm, right? You take away his space that he can farm.
What do you mean, like you take the triangle?
Yeah, so how do you do that? I mean, the triangle is hard to take, but for example, right? How do you get map control, right? If you have map control and they don't, there's less place for him to farm. Right, I'm gonna actually hop in the we're not gonna actually watch just yet, but how do you take map control?
Vision.
Okay, so you mean like you just put a ward here and he can't farm?
I mean, you got to see him to know where he is, right? To know where to pressure, because if you're pressuring the triangle but he's in the jungle on the other side of the map, that doesn't
Okay, so let's say he's farming here and there's a ward here, and then what?
Then you have Spirit Breaker charge him and you go in and you have...
But then now we're back to killing him, right? And we just said that's not the way. Alright.
So I'm not sure then.
Okay. How do you make sure that it's... like, without actually having to kill him, that it's unsafe for him to farm wherever he wants.
You deward their wards so they don't know what's happening there.
Okay, apart from wards, it's not about the wards, man. I mean, wards aren't really. Yes, you can deward the wards, sure, but for that you also need. There's a step that comes first that you're kind of missing, and I think this is also giving me, you know, an idea maybe why, or like some of the stuff that's holding you back.
So
Okay.
I'm not sure then. I guess you have to tell me because I'm.
All right. Okay.
When I
fair
hear
enough.
it, I may say, "Oh yes, of course."
There's
I don't know
one
the answer
very
that you're
like
looking for.
the most important part of the game that throughout all these questions I asked you so far, you haven't even mentioned once. What is the game about?
Taking towers.
There you go. Yes, that's what I was like hoping to get at. You didn't mention towers once, man. That's how you take map control. That's how you reduce void space. Now, it's not just any towers though. So if you take this tower, which camps would you say become unsafe for the void?
The two right there, he can't farm.
Yeah, these two, right? All of a sudden, he's out of position if he's farming there. It's like it's very easy for him to get caught. And if he does get caught, you know, obviously you could gank him. If you have a ward, you could gank him regardless, even if the tower is up. But if the tower is up, it means, you know, much easier for him to get back up.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, if you take this tower, which camps become unsafe?
To the right and to the left.
Yes, these two, right? Same story. And in fact, if you take these two, it kind of gives you access to this whole area, this whole jungle high ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because even though there's an outpost, it's not like the vision is very low and TPs are super slow there. So basically, these two are the key towers you want to take so you can limit his space. Now, if you take this tower, which camps become unsafe?
The triangle starts to become unsafe.
Right.
And actually, the one right up above you in the north.
This one. Okay, I mean, this one is on your side anyway. It's like past the river, sure. This is actually kind of a trick question because the triangle doesn't really become less safe, even if you take this tower, because it's high ground. Like, it's a lot easier. This tier 2 is much closer than, you know, there's nothing close here if you take the tier 1 mid. Alright, so that's why actually these two towers on the enemy off lane and on your safe lane are not really worth pushing. Mm-hmm. Like, the only thing it's kind of relevant for is a Roche, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these two are the key towers to take. And if you take them, Void will not be able to farm. And you don't have to kill him, it's just like he won't, like if he comes through, the idea is that it's the threat of the kill, right? Because if he's out of position, he's gonna die. So he's not gonna go there and he's just gonna have less farm as a result. And the last thing, so you kind of see where we're getting at, imagine, go back to the item graph. So establish, like the point is to take these towers, right? As soon as possible. Okay, imagine it's like 12 minutes in. Let's see what everybody has. We see double Midas. Okay, Axe just about finishes the blink. Void's got Mask Madness. Okay, 12 minutes in, you guys group to push a tower. Mm-hmm. Which enemy core is most likely to show up to defend?
Axe.
Yeah, Axe. That makes sense, right? Like he actually wants to fight. He's the frontliner, right? He's also the initiator, right? They're not gonna fight without Axe. Like, no way. Void is kind of a, you know, he has the Chrono, which kind of sets him apart from most carries because it's a big team fight spell. So he might show up with Chrono to try and defend. But for the most part, the farming hero is the last hero that's gonna come to defend, right? He's not gonna just sit there,
right,
and like hitting creeps while you guys are pushing, right. Like, yeah. That's Axe's job, or the mid's job, right? The active heroes, right? So this also shows you why, if you want to take towers, it doesn't make sense to pressure the farming core because they're not going to be defending the towers anyway. They're going to be busy farming, no matter how their game is going. But if this frontliner, or the initiator, or the Axe in this case, has a bad game and he's weak, he can't frontline, right? He's not tanky. So then who's defending the tower? They don't really have heroes left at that point. And that's why you want to pressure the enemy active core frontliner /frontliner. Also, unlike farming, I mean, farming heroes, what you mentioned with like Void has a hard time recovering. Like on paper, yes, he doesn't have a spell, but that's why he buys farming items, right? Like Mask of Madness. Whereas these offlaners, they don't buy farming items, right? They buy tank items. So therefore, they have a harder time recovering. All right, so with basically these two key questions, you know, on top of what you already mentioned, this gives you a clear game plan essentially. Heading into the game, you have an idea of what you're trying to accomplish. Okay.
Right. So now you're trying to pressure towers and you're trying to fuck up Axe's game.
Yeah, so that he can defend these towers. Yeah. So that means if you, this is the case with a lot of mids. Like it can be a Windranger with your focus fire and javelin. You can be a Queen of Pain with your ult, or like a Void Spirit or whatever. As you hit your power spike, your level 6 and whatnot, you're very strong. You can basically kill anybody with a little bit of backup. But who you choose to kill is super important, right? Because most people just go for whatever's easiest and not what's actually gonna, you know, win them the game. Or they just focus the carry. Like, you know, it's a common thing because generally when you lose, it's like the carry that, you know, got very farmed and is killing you. You're like, shit, man. If only this guy didn't get farmed, right? We wouldn't be losing this hard. So then the next game you're like, okay, let's kill that farming guy. But that's like, it's a bait. That's not how it works, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna just fast forward through the lane stage. Don't focus too much on the laning usually, unless there's something unusual happening. There's all we could talk about laning, obviously, but if that's something you're interested in, we can do like a whole lesson on that, 1v1s, etc. This is just to see like how it goes roughly. In fact, let's actually check. If we go to player network, 10 minutes. Yeah, so even-ish, you're pulling ahead a little bit. Looks fine. So yeah, it's always good to power the range creep, obviously. Just if you're planning to do it,
try and hit him.
no, I mean, sure, that's a bonus, yes, but like most people won't let you. Power shot gets reduced for every creep it passes through, right? So you want it to not pass through the melee creeps most of the time. That's the first thing, because basically you don't get the last hit because of that.
Yeah,
right.
Yep, you're right.
It was a fully channeled power shot, but it didn't do 150. It did like, I don't know,
75 or whatever.
Yeah, it's we could check, but yeah, it doesn't matter. You get the point. That's one thing, and the other thing is you don't want to stand right on top of your creep either. Yeah, it actually did like 60, which is, yeah, pretty crazy. You don't want to stand on top of your creep. In this case, an Invoker with Sunstrike, but most mids will also use their nuke to secure your range creep, right? So if you're standing next to it, you're just gonna tank that damage as well. Yeah. Generally speaking, like this is how you want to use your power shot to secure the range creep, because so far you've used like 3, and 1 out of 3 only was on range creep. If you think about it, there's no hero, like that's why this spell is so good, level 1, 150 damage. Like most nukes aren't, they're like 100, right? Or even less than 100. And that's pretty close to enemies attack damage, right? Invoker 61. But 150, like nobody has 150 attack damage, which means it's impossible for the range creep to be denied from you, right? As long as you power shot it at...
Only it and don't hit anything else.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
So that should be the main use of your power shot for like majority of lanes. And if you're gonna power shot the enemy to harass, you want to do it like this is a good example. Although I mean he could have easily dodged this if he was paying attention, but you want to do it when you know that they're like busy last hitting, so they're gonna be standing still. The most convenient time is usually when they're walking up to you to harass you. Yeah, so the win run here is like you use it to get in, which so I don't know if you know how it works exactly, but basically it only counts when the hits connect. Only then it checks if you're win running or not when the hits are. So the hit can already be flying at you from the tower, and just before it hits you press win run, it's gonna miss. That's how you want to use it, right? To maximize the dodge duration. And the other thing is like the tower is now, you draw aggro here, it starts hitting you Windrun is still
But
on
I have
you.
no wind run. Right.
Yeah.
So I should have ran in, been hitting him, gotten
Yeah.
the tower on me, then popped wind run.
Exactly, yeah. Because you tank like
Do you
3
think I
tower
could have
shots.
killed him there if I did that?
No, zero chance.
I was just scared that, like, I thought this was a bad engage. I'm telling him on the mic right now, like, Spirit Breaker, don't do it. Like, it's under his tower. Don't come in. And he charges in.
Yeah, I mean, that's on him though. I mean, like, it's not your... Like, what is your job?
So I
like,
shouldn't have blown wind run. I should have focused on my farm.
Yeah.
And just, a couple of pot shots and then went back to farming.
Exactly. Like, it's not your job to keep your support Spirit Breaker alive. It's the other way around.
Right.
And if he's like... I mean, he's kind of ruining your lane by doing that, but... Like, nothing you can do about it. But at the very least, you can get not baited. Yeah. Alright, couple things on build here. So... Gonna start writing some stuff down, like some keynotes. Now here is a very important question. I tell this to all students, regardless of like role, skill level, etc. Basically, the question. This should not be a heading. Question to help with item skill builds. All right, this is what you gotta ask yourself every time when you're about to buy something, or you're gonna skill up. What can I do with this item that I cannot do without? Now, why is this question so important? I'm gonna make it red. And not only does it tell you if your choice is good or not, it also immediately helps you with understanding your game plan. Alright, so, because first of all, obviously, if the answer is nothing, then that's a bad idea, right? Because there's got to be something that, is gonna change the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're asking why am I leveling power shot?
Yeah, so let's start with the skill build. It's a bit more simple, and then we move on to the item build. So for every point, there's got to be some reason, right? Now, level 1 to 2 power shot is fine because the damage almost doubles. And what's the difference when we talk about the range creep being like one of the main reasons to use the power shot?
Right.
When the power shot's level 2, all it takes is one hit to prep it. Like you hit the range creep once, then you power shot, and it's dead. Alright, so this gives you like an even faster way of accomplishing that. And obviously it's also like, damage to farming tool, etc. Okay, what about shackle shot? What can you do with shackle shot that you cannot do without at level 4?
I mean, not much. It's only a 0.6 longer, and you pick up an extra 4 seconds on the cooldown.
Yeah, no, I'm not even talking about like leveling it up. Yes, the value point is level 1 for sure.
Right.
No, I'm talking about skilling it at all.
I mean, it allows me to stop, like if they're ganking me, right? I can maybe land a shackle shot to protect myself. Like it gives me an additional way. Or to secure a kill, right? Like if this guy's out of position, it gives me a way to lock him down.
Okay, so let's take both these scenarios. First of all, if you're getting ganked, right, it's like the CM and or the Ogre. Let's say they're walling in from the side, whatever. They're coming from here, right? Or they're smoking, right? So chances are they will get their spell off before you. Right, so using the shackle, like it's similar range. So using the shackle to prevent that is not really gonna happen. Second, what is their, like, imagine they both gank you. It's unlikely, right? But let's say they both gank you. The combined damage of their spells, like, are you dying to spell damage? No. You're dying to right clicks. Right? And that is gonna be the case with, I mean, almost any heroes, like, because what heroes can kill you with only spells at like 2 minutes?
Wind run is more important. So you would prioritize my power shot and wind run over the shackle shot?
Yeah, the shackle shot is absolutely useless.
How long would you delay that shackle shot?
All right, so we're gonna get to that part, right? And the second reason you said it is for the kill, right? Now,
because I need it for when I hit 6, right? I hit my javelin timing, right, and then I hit my 6 roughly about the same time. And now I'm dangerous, right? So I need my skill point at that point to be able to kill, right?
Why? How do you kill this Invoker at level 6?
Well, if I'm gonna gank, anytime I've ganked let's say I go gank the axe. I don't do it this game. I don't think I do.
Okay,
But like, let's say I
yeah.
was supposed to, right? Because that's the lane I'm supposed to be pressuring. So let's say I do go do that. Every time that I've rotated top and I've actually gotten a kill doing that, it's been shackle shot and my ulti that pulls it off.
Okay, but let me ask you like this: if you don't shackle, how can they escape?
Run.
Okay.
That's it, right? Stun me and run. I mean, that's the only way they can get out, or
so,
neutralize me and run.
Which hero here runs faster than you with Windrun on?
Oh, nobody. I mean, Void, but we're
So,
not going.
then how are they running? Right.
I mean, in this case, I would run up there. Ogre stuns me, right? I open with, I save my win run, and I open with
Foxfire on the axe, right?
Right, on the axe.
Yeah.
Ogre stuns me. Axe runs back to the tower. Ogre stuns me and then hits me with ignite, and I pop my win run trying to chase after, and Axe runs back to the tower.
Okay, how long does Ogre stun last?
What is it, a second and a half?
Yeah, exactly, 1.5 seconds. So you're telling me in 1.5 seconds, Axe gets so far away that you can't catch him? No way.
I mean,
no way.
Okay.
So the thing is, like,
I should delay this action.
Windrun.
At what point do you get the shackle?
Windrun is the spell you should be maxing first. It's by far your most important spell, because not only is it what allows you to get kills, it's also your escape though at the same time. All right, and
so I
and the way and how
power shot and then win run. You're saying it should be the other way around. I should prioritize win run with how many points into power shot?
So basically, how it should look: level 7, you have 4 points in wind run, 2 points in power shot, and 1 in ult. And at level 8, you get shackle.
Okay.
And depending, like, obviously, there's some cases where you might get the shackle a little bit earlier, like 1 or 2 levels earlier, but there has to be a specific reason again. And honestly, there's very few. Like, diving the tower with Windrun and like having the move speed of Windrun is what allows you to get kills. And if that's not enough, then Shackle is not going to be enough either. What's the only situation in which Shackle is absolutely necessary and Windrun doesn't help?
I'm sorry, I'm writing down what you said.
So
what?
if you know your answer to them running away is the Windrun and not the Shackle, Windrun is more effective. What's the only situation in which you actually need the Shackle and Windrun just doesn't cut it? Doesn't work.
I mean, if they have escape heroes, right? Like a Weaver or somebody like that, and you're focusing that.
Still very few heroes, and even in those cases, like, I mean, let's say if it's Weaver, you can carry detection. I mean, it's hard to get, but yeah, Weaver's a good example. But there's very few heroes like that, because for example, Void also has an escape, but you could, like, it's a short range. You could just keep going. It's like your attack range is as much as the time walk. So basically, what I'm getting at is TPs, right? Only if they're trying to TP out, that's when you actually need the Shackle.
Right, exactly. Right. Of course,
Yeah.
right. To stop a TP.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, like you're right, a couple key heroes like Weaver, but there aren't any in this game. And even against those, like, you might just not go for them the first time. Yeah. So the point is, the way you get kills is by Windrunning in the tower. And if your Windrun is level 1 until 8, like,
Right.
your kill potential on this Evoker is pretty low. And that's a problem.
Like I also use my power. The reason why I boost power shot first is typically like while this wave is ping ponging back and forth, right? Because I shove it forward, he shoves it back.
Okay.
I'll go and farm the side camps using power shot and clarities, right? So trying to like almost flash farm with power shot.
Okay, so first of all, do you think power shot is a great farming spell?
I do. I think it's pretty good at level 4. I think you can almost clear an entire camp with it.
Okay, let me ask it like this then. What's better, power shot or shadow raises?
Yeah, shadow raises, but I'm not playing Shadow Fiend. Right?
Okay.
And we can talk about that. Like, do I need to relook at my hero? Right? Like, who should I be playing? Right?
Okay.
Like,
The point is, like, okay, what's the strength of Windranger? What makes Windranger unique? right? Like, I mean, you're on the money there, right? You said, like, I'm not playing Shadow Fiend. Okay. So then, if you're playing Shadow Fiend, what? You would be super good at farming jungle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not playing Shadow Fiend. You're playing Windranger.
Right.
What's Windranger super good at? What's special about Windranger?
Ganking.
Well, not actually ganking. It's just killing people, right?
Wow.
Focus fire.
Right,
It's
right.
like one of the best. I mean, actually, I would say Windranger is the best solo killing hero in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, realistically.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you're buying Ines for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you buying Javelin so you can farm the jungle? No.
No, you're buying, it so you can hit harder.
So you can kill people. And this brings back to that question, right? What can you do with Javelin you cannot do without? Well, you could kill people with your ult a lot easier.
Right.
Right. Quick side note here. When you're asking this question, just saying like be tankier or deal more damage, that's not like a good answer, right? It needs to be tanky enough to survive X, right? Deal enough damage to kill somebody in some duration. So in this case, I mean, if Windrun lasted 20 seconds, you wouldn't really need the Javelin, right? Because you could just chase somebody for 20 seconds, right?
Right.
But Javelin allows you to kill them within like 5 or 6 seconds, which is just about how much the Windrun lasts.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so yeah, basically maxing power shot and farming jungle means you're trading farms. So this actually brings me another question we could add to the pre-game thought checklist. Now, this time I'm gonna start with just the full question and kind of work from there. Which mid farms the jungle faster? Now, again, it's not the most typical case, but because Evoker, Exort Invoker is greedy, right? Yeah. This guy buys Midas. And still he's not really that fast of a jungle farmer. So you're kind of equal-ish with him. But generally speaking, Windranger is not a fast mid farmer, right? That's not, like I said, established. That's not why you picked Windranger. And even though Invoker's kind of slow, let's put it like this. If both you and Invoker are just shoving the wave and farming jungle, who wins? Who's benefiting more from that trade?
He is, because my job's not to farm jungle.
Exactly, because that's what he wants. That's Invoker's game plan, right? If you ask, if you're playing Invoker, like, what's your ideal game plan? Well, I just get as many creeps as possible and get Midas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So by planning to farm jungle, you're going along with Invoker's game plan. All right. Since you lose, then, like, if you're just constantly fighting, right, then you're the one that wins, because that's what you want as a Windranger, and Invoker is slowed down. It would be the opposite if he goes Quas Wex, right? Then actually I would there might be a bit more merit to farming jungle a little bit more, just because your kill potential on him is going to be very low, right? The tornado dispels your wind run, and he's also going to look to get active. But that's a lot of ifs, right? Because still, like, you might want to be active for the other heroes, etc. Yeah, so that's on. Basically, that's why you max win run. That plays to your hero's strength, and you don't really need more than 2 points of power shot, because you shouldn't be planning to farm the jungle that much anyway. Same with the Shackle. The Shackle doesn't actually help on the lane, because the way you threaten the lane is by diving with Windrun. And you're not going to be leaving the lane until at least level like 6 at the extremist, if you find a good rune, but usually like 7, 8. Right, so then you could start taking Shackle. Definitely don't need Shackle before 6. So pretty much always should be power shot, Windrun, power shot, Windrun, ult. So 0, 2, 3 at level 6. Alright, now let's move on to item build. Let's go to the graph. Alright, so first, let's start with the very first item. Actually, yeah, let's start with the starting items, obviously. Star build is fine, just that, I mean, you bought the tangos, but you could have had them pulled, and this could be like one more mantle, just a bit more damage to last it with. But I guess you can't always count on people pulling your tangos, so it's whatever. Yo, Herman, yep, it's starting in 20 minutes. Alright, so first thing you buy is Null Talisman. Okay. Let's check out Null Talisman. Alright. So what are you paying 210 gold for, actually? If you compare these two and the Talisman. What's the difference?
To be honest, I don't know off the top of my head. Spell application.
You're watching it on my screen, right? Because I'm showing it right now.
Yeah. But I don't see what the. I mean, it's 2 + 2 attributes and +3 intelligence. So you're picking up, you're picking up the agility. You're picking up, you know what I mean?
No. But you have that already. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The +5 int and the +2 strength and agi you have already from these. So the only thing that changes, you're paying 210 gold to get 3% spell amp and 0.6 mana regen.
Right.
Which is, simply said, not worth it by any stretch for 210 gold. The other thing you're getting, we're gonna get to that. The other thing you're getting is combining them to one slot, but you have slots anyway. It's like the beginning of the game, so that's also pointless. So don't get the Talisman early, right? The Javelin is a much bigger deal, right? Now Bottle. Javelin is like your first major item, right? With established like what can you do with Javelin, you can get solo kills much easier, yeah. Okay, so why the Bottle? What can you do with Bottle that you cannot do without?
It allows me to sustain in the lane longer, to hit more power shots, to hit the 4-minute rune.
Okay, so you're buying the Bottle to use more power shots.
Yeah, for sustain, for health. I mean, not really in this matchup, but 9 times out of 10 they're pressuring me a lot more than this guy really is.
Okay.
This is a pretty passive lane from him, but normally it's like they're hitting me a lot, right? Maybe it's a Quap throwing, daggers at me nonstop.
Okay, so like majority of heroes on mid will harass you with right clicks, which you have Windranger for. Costs 50 mana. Also, Windranger has 600 attack range, right? Combine this with the fact that you can snipe range creeps from, the range of power shot?
It's huge.
2.6k, yeah. From behind your tower even. So, if you're getting harassed a lot 9 times out of 10 as a Windranger, you're doing something wrong, right? This should not be the case. So, this brings you because Bottle gives you 2 things, HP and mana, that's it. And if you're playing a hero that doesn't really need the HP sustain most of the time, like Windranger, the only thing that's left is mana, right? And how much mana do 3 charges give you?
What's that, 2 1/4?
Yeah, 225. Yeah, that's 2 power shots. Okay, is that really worth 600 gold? It's not. So if you're buying Bottle, it first of all better be for the health.
With the Bottle and the Talisman, I'd pretty much have a Javelin, right? I mean, that's almost the cost of the Javelin.
That's almost, that's like 900 gold, yeah. So first of all, only buy Bottle if you really need HP, and seriously think about like how much you need that HP. And keep in mind, again, the mana is really bad. So for most int heroes, you're better off just getting in Windrager's case, not. You shouldn't rarely get double null. It's kind of a waste. If you're playing like a Puck or Lina or like Queen of Pain, Storm, you just get a couple nulls. Okay, Storm is an exception because you use runes very well. But the other option is just mangoes, man. Just get some casual mangoes, okay? 2 mangoes give you as much as 3 Bottle charges, right? For 140 gold. Right, and it's on demand, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper, and you end up getting your Javelin a lot faster. Right, so just get some casual mangoes. And basically the heroes that Bottle is really good on are generally heroes that either have some mobility or like some way to like quickly refill it often. And also heroes that don't have a very big mana pool. Like Ember is a prime example of a great Bottle hero. Storm also, because it just uses runes very well, even though he's a farmer. On a hero like Zeus, very rarely buy bottle because
Okay.
like your mana pool is gigantic. Bottle and Pugna, never ever. I mean, yeah. So yeah, I would.
So let's go back to the match, right? So right now it's 3 minutes and 25 seconds. If I had done it your way, I would have
Javelin.
I would have a javelin right now. Not
Yeah.
only would I have a javelin, but I would have almost 3 points in win run, right? And I would actually probably have like if I hit that guy and the javelin procced, I'm doing a lot of damage, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of harass. Actually, counteracts the uphill miss, which is kind of nice too. So even if you don't have ult yet, it's not a bad item to have, that javelin, right? Allows you to pressure a lot. And yeah, the key thing is, like, so you want to keep in mind, you should be at 2 and 3 right now in the win run. And what you want to make sure is, as you're about to hit 6, first of all, you need to have enough mana. Second, like, most people are going to pay attention to when you hit 6. So, like, don't, sit passively and like, oh, I'm level 6, let's start walking up to him now. No.
Right.
It's going to be too obvious, right? The moment you hit 6, he's going to play more defensive. So you want to be looking at your XP when you're like 1 or 2 creeps away from 6. You already, like, ideally, like, let's say right now this was the creep you need for level 6. You're already walking towards him. And he's like, what is this guy doing? He's level 5. And then as you reach him, the creep dies, you hit 6, and he's dead.
Right. I would probably need dust though, right? Because you could just...
Well, he doesn't actually have wake skill, but yeah, now he takes it. Yeah, getting dust would be a good idea, yes. Otherwise, you can't.
Right. And right now...
Yeah.
So you wouldn't get a bottle. You would just go javelin to boots.
Javelin, and then you get the boots, get some mangoes, finish the talisman. And if you want to get some small value items, you find yourself like, oh, I have too many empty slots. Raindrop, often great idea. Good amount of mana regen, tanks you up a lot. Sometimes I buy a casual Blightstone on Windranger. It's like the most damage you can get for your ult for the cost, right? 300 gold only. Helps with pushing as well. Don't have to turn it into anything. That's basically the choices.
And do you finish your... Because a lot of times I'll just get the brown boots and then go... I haven't been doing this recently. I think I go phase boots first. But a lot of times I'll just get the brown boots and rush my MKB. Do you finish the boots first?
I mean, let's apply the question, right? What can you do with phase boots that you cannot do without?
You're faster. You can run through creeps, which allows you to chase better.
Are you faster though?
Well, it allows you to run through creeps, right? So if you're ganking the lane and you got to get through the creeps, that's what it allows you to do.
So, I mean, that's like basically spending 1,000 gold so that you don't get waterbucked by creeps. Is there really no other way around it? Like just approaching from a different angle? You literally have power shield which cuts trees, right? So, like, let's say you were right here right now trying to gank this void, power shot through the trees, and like walk in a straight line at him. That is actually the best way anyway to gank as Windranger. Or you approach from behind. You should never be getting blocked by creeps as you're ganking. Like, that's not really a thing. So
you would just buy the brown boots and then go right into MKB.
There's no reason to... there is a reason, which I don't want to give away. So if you're not buying it for the move speed, not buying it for the phase, what else is there on the phase boots?
Armor.
Yeah, armor is the only reason. Now, you're playing a hero with 100% built-in evasion, right? So very, very few cases where you actually need this armor. You need it for physical damage that doesn't care about evasion, and there's not much of it. Example is Monkey King's Boundless Strike, right? Bristlebacks, Quill Spray, Dazzle spells, that kind of shit. You make
As to why you would need armor, you're saying?
Yeah, that's a game to maybe consider the phase boots. Only then.
Okay, right.
Never otherwise. Alright, so here you get a DD, you decide to gank bottom. Level 6. Yeah, this guy actually jumps in. So here, Shackle doesn't connect. And he just walks away, yeah. So, it didn't have to do... I mean, even if the Shackle connected, obviously he would have died, yes, but...
I should have held Shackle and shackled. If you want, like, I should have held Shackle
I mean, yeah, if you're gonna use Shackle, you don't want to start with it, that's for sure. And this is a very common thing, like, people kind of, I don't know, just because you have Shackle, it doesn't mean you have to use the Shackle before the ult, right? You pretty much always want to start, also you don't have to use Windrun before the ult. Just, if you start with the ult, it lasts 20 seconds, and then everything else, maybe afterwards, right? But yeah, if Crystal Maiden frostbite you earlier, and if this guy didn't jump in, you also wouldn't get the kill. But if you had level 3 Windrun, you could chase him for 5 seconds, and it would be pretty easy. Not to mention it slows also if you get on top of it, which you might as well.
Windrun slows, you said?
Yeah, enemy slow. In a 300 radius. This green circle you see, that's the slow radius. So let's keep going. Here you decide to gank top this time. Also, I don't see you farming jungle at all, by the way. Which you said that's why you maxed the power shot.
This game, I don't know that I do it. I have been doing it on Windrun. Like this game, I think I was ganking more.
Yeah.
Again, I open with the shackles.
Yeah. Okay. The only reason to skill shackle, which we talked about earlier, right? It happened here. TP's out. Yeah. But then you don't have it, so.
Yeah. This was too early. Now I can't kill Axe, who's the guy that I should be pressuring anyway.
Also, yes, like, who are you coming here to kill? Okay,
I'm coming here to kill Axe.
Yeah, not the ogre. So casting anything on the ogre, especially focus fire, bad idea. Right. So just ganking for the sake of ganking is it's not a thing, right? Like you're coming here to, and it's actually an important note. So you're not necessarily coming to kill the Axe, right? You're trying to make his game hard. All right. It's a small distinction, but like why? Okay, let's put it like this: what do you get out of killing Axe? What's the reason to kill Axe here?
I mean, he had a kill streak there and to slow down his farm.
Yeah, okay, he had a streak, fair enough, but it's to slow down his farm, right? You're not doing it to get something for yourself, because you would get a lot more by just farming, even on a slow farmer like Windranger, without risk. Basically, the point is to stop him from farming, and getting him low HP accomplishes more or less the same thing. Now, he has like one of the few like crazy early game sustain items, Tranquil Boots, which is not very common. But even then, like, so again, this could be maybe a bit of an exception, but the point is that most of the time, like, getting someone to super low HP, or in like they go to base, or killing them, there's not a whole lot of difference for what you're trying to accomplish. You're slowing them down either way. Alright, so let's fast forward, farm some more, gank the void. Now, okay, I'm gonna write down, since we are closing in on the 1 hour, I'm gonna write down another big rule. Also in red. Actually, no, this one's not red. So the only reason to get hero kill, I just established, right? Like if your goal is to slow down his farm, it doesn't actually matter so much if you kill him or not.
Right, because the tower, you take his tower, what does it do? But if you take Void's tower, then he can't farm the jungle.
Yeah, that's on the towers as well, right? Like this tower is not as useful as this one, yes. No, but so the only reason to get a hero kill is fill in the blank here. What do you think?
Slow down their farm. I mean, that, right? Like you get a hero kill to take the tower and to slow down their farm.
Okay, so I mean, you said it, but it's not the second part. It's the first part. It's to push a tower. It's to take an objective. Because that's why I gave this example with you don't have to actually kill them to slow down their farm, right? So that's not the reason to get an actual kill. Is to be able to take an objective afterwards. So in this case, if you kill the void and you run back mid right after, what does the kill accomplish? Well, really not much. Really not much. You do have to run back mid though, because this guy is like owning your tower with this Alacrity Catapult, which is hella strong. But this also tells you that you cannot, like, why did this happen? right? Let's check out what you did. Went mid, took a wave, you farmed the camp, you took the bounty, then you rotated bottom. Right, so how do you think we can avoid... You can never like fully avoid it, but how do you make this situation less likely?
I don't farm. I should have ganked bottom sooner as opposed to going to the rune, going to the creep.
Yes. But I mean, you do want to get 10-minute bounty, right? So a couple things. Actually, this extra thing here, that 10-minute siege creep, you don't want to do this exactly 10 minutes. It's good to do it because, you know, there's a siege creep on the enemy side, but then it's also bad for you. But let's say you do want to farm the camp and get the bounty on the way. So what's the problem that, like, what is missing here?
Somebody rotating to defend my tower?
Yes, but you can't control them, right? You can't tell, like, you can tell them, sure, but sometimes you're gonna listen, sometimes they're not. That cannot be part of your plan. No, it's pushing the wave first, right? You have to push the wave and then you can rotate. And this is also why it's important to be high mana always, because you have an okay amount of mana now, but like Bot always talk about, your Mango's clarities are better. Anyway, you need to have enough mana so that you can use a nuke or two to shove the wave, and then still have mana left to make a move. So here, successfully kill the Void. Once again, even if you didn't have Shackle, you could just chase him and win on there. Same thing. Get back to shoving mid. Yeah, this is a problem now. If you run out of mana without mana regen on you, like you may as well be dead right now.
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference between you being alive and dead? Really isn't, because can't really do anything without mana. Alright. Yeah, so you actually end up walking base, which also something you never ever want to do. I really hope you don't TP top here, but I have a feeling it's likely. Alright, so a few more general rules. Avoid walking to base at all costs. Never TP out of base.
Is that because I could have been farming and then TP top as opposed to...
Unless you're absolutely forced. So a couple reasons for this. Now, first of all, never walk the base because it's just a huge waste of time, right? Like, you can farm while the courier brings you mana, right? Or even if you need health as well, then health also, right? And even better if you plan ahead and actually have those mana and health regen items on you in the first place.
While you're rotating top. Yep.
Yeah, that's the first thing. Second thing, when you TP out of base, you're stuck. So it doesn't matter where you TP. Like, first of all, you walk the base, which is a period of time you're not doing anything. And it's a classic. I mean, I think you didn't quite do it. Okay, you did farm one camp, yeah. You didn't farm this one at least, but it's a classic. People farm like 2-3 camps, walk the base, then TP to lane. And this is extremely bad. It's like the worst thing you could do. Why? First, you spend like a minute not applying any kind of pressure, right? Just farming camps and walking to base. Then you TP and you're stuck. Right? Enemies had time to gather pressure towers, whatever, do whatever they want. You TP like, let's say, top right now, and if enemies show up top, you're stuck there, right? You have to fight them, but maybe you don't want to, but you have no other choice. Then you have to start walking to a different lane, and meanwhile they're taking your tower, right? Like, you can see how it just snowballs into a worse situation. Or let's say you TP top because you want to pressure the axe, but then axe goes bottom, and then like, what are you doing top? Right? And then the biggest thing, this is like, it can be top, it can be bottom, it can be mid, it can be anywhere. But the biggest thing, for sure in this case also, is the fact that you're TPing to your safe lane. And we talked about it, right? Like, this tower is worthless. So think about it. The only reason to get a hero kill is to be able to take an objective afterwards.
We get those hero kills, what do we do? Nothing.
Yeah, this is not the objective you want. Yeah. And on top of that, 2 of your allies are already dead. So, like, chances are you aren't pushing shit, right? And not to mention, it's 11 minutes into the game, so even in the absolute best case scenario here, you get a like triple kill, right? They're gonna respawn in 15 seconds. Even this tower, this is not worth getting. You're still not even gonna get that one, right? Because they're just gonna respawn, and you have no like. Also, it's a level 1 focus fire. You need it to get the kills, so then you can't push afterwards, right? So what is a good rotation then? You might ask. If this is a bad one,
Either bottom, probably bottom.
Yeah, this one is good. It would be good if you first dealt with mid and also stayed to pressure the tower. Honestly, I would prefer to, lose mid, but also get this. It's not that mid is worth more or less. In fact, mid is worth a little bit more than the safe lane one. But it's just for the reason that you want to get shit done, right? Like if it's gonna be a tough game where you can't really pull ahead, then at least make the trade and don't keep it passive.
Well, not just that. I mean, look at the farm, right? Look at the net worth. Yeah. Look how bad my spec is farming. He's got 2,900.
Yeah.
Void's at 44. He's almost doubled his farm.
Yeah. So better break the status quo, right? If you're losing, right, and trade some towers then at least. Yeah. So this rotation would be good if you end up getting the tower out of it.
Right.
You do have a glyph actually for mid, which would be definitely worth using here. So you go back and farm some camps, which I think now your tower actually dies in the meantime. Oh no, it died earlier. Okay, let's see. Okay, we skipped some stuff here. So there was the whole action top. Did you walk back to base after the action top? Let's see. So once again, focus firing the ogre. Pretty much the exact same thing happened there.
Yep, and I died.
Actually ended up dying, yeah. Which, I mean, it should be impossible for him to kill at this stage. Axe has no blink. Right? It only happened because you went in. End up almost losing the tower here. Glyph's still ready. Use the glyph yet. And just really, like, you have some hatred for this ogre, man. I think out of your first, 5 focus fires, at least 3 have been on the ogre. This is the 3rd focus fire on ogre, and this should be
like
0.
I literally say, I'm like, I have to stop focus firing ogre. Like, he's got so much fucking armor.
Also, he has a poor man's shield, actually, which is, yeah. But it's just a useless hero to focus. However, even this, shows... let me just replay this. This might maybe the last thing we check out, because we're running out of time. So... Okay, I didn't quite see the click that I wanted to, but what's the problem with this power shot?
I was trying to hit him and the creep at the same time.
Okay, but it ends up hitting him and not the creeps, right? And if it's gonna hit either one, it should be the other way around. The wave is more important than ogre. Freeze kind of killed you, but yeah, there's just absolutely no reason to take that risk. You end up losing the tower. TP to farm camps, also bad idea. In a similar way, but at the very least they don't see you, but it's still bad because you're just stuck in your jungle, you can't get anything done there. Now you farm more camps. So yeah, not a single focus fire on Invoker, which is your easiest target for sure. Like armor wise, and the fact that he's a ranged hero, so he doesn't have damage block. Or less innate damage block. Let's have to rotate again, yeah. Another ulti on a support. Like, yes, it's easy to kill the supports with ult, but you really want to be using it to kill the cores, because it just has a bigger impact. Unless it's like absolutely impossible. But then you're probably screwed regardless. Like, if you can't kill a core with your ult in the early game, then it's...
Like, what about if I rotate top, they have a ward, so axe backs, right, but the support's still sitting there, I would kill the support, right? I mean, you're there, you kill the support. Like, yeah.
I mean, if it's a proper gank where you're approaching from behind, and you have any kind of follow-up, you could probably kill them without the focus fire as well then. And honestly, like... To me, it will be more valuable that my focus fire is off cooldown than you know, Ogre being alive or not.
Right.
Basically, yeah. All right, so that's, yeah, I think we're at a bit over an hour actually. Did you have any final questions? We didn't get through the whole replay, but this is standard. Like usually, it's just a lot of the info, as you saw, like it's from the scoreboard and everything. It's not even in the game itself. Just builds. Yeah, that's where you could find majority of the stuff.
What other heroes should I be focused on, right? Like learning mid, or be focused on trying to get better at on a mid roll? Because I need to, you know, like if I'm say Wind is one of them, what are maybe like 2 other heroes that I can?
Okay, I mean, I'll give you some suggestions, but I mean, patches coming out any moment, most likely.
Right.
So that's probably gonna change. But what you're looking for is basically mobility. Like you see, like play mobile heroes. That's a good idea. Otherwise, it's tough to control the game. You want solo kill potential, and ideally some. You definitely want wave clear. That's a must, and ideally some tower pressure also. Right, so I'm looking at your Dodewolf real quick. Clinks, I see, is honestly very similar to Windranger. Just a little bit lacking in the wave clear, but super good at everything else. Storm is fine. Queen of Pain is alright. Snapfire is been getting popular, but it's a bit more of a team-oriented hero. Zeus, pretty good still. Don't think he's gonna get nerfed. Leshrac is great.
You think learning Zeus would be good?
Yeah, for sure.
So my goal is obviously to get to that 4,500 or a little over 4,500. So with that MMR in mind, right? Trying to get from basically 1,000 MMR in this bracket. What do you think is a hero that I should, Wind can be one of them, and then we can focus on like when to pick it, when not to pick it. You know what I mean? But I'm just to practice on heroes. Like, who do you think is? And I think we should do our next session once the patch comes out, so we know what the meta is. So then we can have like a little more, in depth. But like in the meantime, who should I work on?
I think Zeus is a good choice. Yeah, I doubt that he's gonna change too much, and it's definitely a hero that you can, it's one of the best late game heroes. It's definitely a hero that can scale really well and control the game.
Okay.
So it's not a bad choice for sure.
So you think I should just do those two, Zeus and Wind? So if Wind's banned, I pick Zeus.
Yep. You could do that for now, and yeah, I mean next time we can then talk also about when to pick them and like the differences. They're also quite different, which is a good idea, so you don't get countered.
What about just real quick item build on Zeus? Is there, what should obviously it changes based on who you're against, but they generally do this. You know what I mean?
Generally, lens.
So you're
lens, travels, axe are like the 3 key items you want, and the order depends a little bit. Some games you may want to rush the axe if like you get some solo kills. It's more of a team-oriented thing though. But generally, like lens into travels.
Are you buying null talismans on him or no?
Yes. So that's a hero that talismans are obviously super good on. Yeah.
And a bottle.
Bottle depends. It's okay. It's not really a must, but it's okay because he uses runes well. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So boots, lens, and then a scepter, and then you're going what? A Yules. So boots, Aether lens, Yules, and then into scepter.
No Yules. It's if you're getting Yules, it needs to be instead of something else. It's too many small items otherwise. Like you should have.
So your travel lens, and then an axe.
Yeah, and then everything is luxury after that, like E-blade, Octarine, Sight, whatever.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna link you my coaching Discord. This is where I have students. If you have any extra questions, you can just ask me there, so others can see as well. And you can see questions by others. Yeah, and let me know how it goes with the Zeus, and then I'll see you next time.